Hey guys, my name is Jordan Chamberlain and welcome to my video on the importance of intrinsic motivators in the workplace. First of all, I don't have my laptop, unfortunately. I'm kind of limited by the tech I do have here, so you're getting a lovely little background of the nature. Intrinsic motivation, it's an interesting topic because it is relatively new to the last 50 years of workplace culture. So it originally initiated back in the 1970s with the introduction of self-determination theory. What does this theory state? Basically, it challenges the way that we as human beings find motivation to accomplish our tasks. And there's two types of main motivation. There's extrinsic motivators and there's intrinsic motivators. So let's look at the differences. Extrinsic motivators are things outside of ourselves. So when we think of extrinsic motivators, we're thinking of things like salary raises or external performance bonuses. Think of like your classic incentives to get holiday bonuses and stuff like that in the corporate workplace here in America. Pretty much the idea was stemmed from Frederick Douglass earlier in the 18th century, and pretty much his theories kind of spiraled over the last 200 years of American society as well as global society and Western culture to take this approach that people are motivated primarily by money when it comes to the workplace. Now, there are other extrinsic motivators like we just talked about too, but definitely money was the big one. As far as what self-determination theory preaches, it actually was the first thing that was unpacking that people aren't always necessarily motivated the best by money. Instead, it directed a shift in attention towards values and towards, self-beliefs and personalities. So the idea shifted during the 70s for the first time from this understanding that from a corporate picture that money is going to be the big motivator. If I give X group $20 more than I give Y group for a certain level of performance, they'll actually achieve better things. And the interesting part with the self-determination theories is that they actually broke that down and discovered that wasn't always the case. So during the 80s, continued research would occur on this, and over time, what researchers would discover was that people are actually motivated by things that are internally motivating. So these are the intrinsic motivators. These are things like accountability, recognition for accomplishment, expansion of job responsibilities. Pretty much the general idea is making sure that employees feel value every time they step into work. It is not assigning a dollar total to people. It is looking at people for their gifts and their abilities and figuring out how to motivate them from there. So from that standpoint, I would love to talk about personally what that might look like in a day-to-day workplace for us. For myself, I manage a team of about 15 people. I work here at Liberty University and I oversee a student worker body. So we're talking 18 to 22-year-olds. And for a lot of us, the motivation is they just need a job to get through college. I used to be in that role myself, so I have a little bit of experience overarching. But what I have found more and more is that my happiest employees are not the ones who do it for the dollar sign. The things that motivate them are not me saying, okay, we'll be able to give you 2 extra hours of work and give you $24. Instead, the people who are constantly wanting to pick up shifts, constantly wanting to show up to work with a smile on their face, are the people who feel valued and trusted in what they do. So what does that look like? Well, for one thing, intrinsic motivators, as discussed by Dan Pink, are people who see the value inside other people, who trust them with their given roles, and who allow them to have expansion to grow. So ultimately, what does that look like on a daily basis? It's looking at my employee and saying, I know that X individual is capable of doing this. How can I get them to feel intrinsically motivated to reach that point of success? So I put aside the whole idea of giving them more money for their performance, and I tell them that I really value the work that they do. I give them the tools to expand, and if they want to get trained on a new certification program, to provide them with the tools to be able to do so. If somebody has questions, I make sure that I'm there to support them. And I'm not beating my own drum. This is just things that I've learned over this class that I've been applying in practice. And I will tell you that my team has been really motivated lately. I actually just sent out a staff email earlier because I was really proud of the work that we were doing. I was hearing from different workers that they love showing up to work, that they love their teammates, which is another important aspect. When workers feel intrinsically motivated, they are autonomously capable of doing the work by themselves. Yet they choose to share their experiences with others because they see the value in what they do and because they start seeing the value in others too. So that's something for supervisors to consider as well. How can we provide a workplace where it's not only the supervisors motivating our employees, but it's actually employees motivating one another as well? And that's done through accountability, which is another element of an intrinsic motivator. There is a level of competence that comes with being able to say, somebody believes in me and they are counting on me to do this. Studies show that when people have trust, accountability, resiliency, those intrinsic values inside of them, that they actually are under a lot less pressure than if we say, you're going to get an extra $1 or $2 for today's work if you do X, Y, Z. Because when that pressure is put on, people are more likely to make mistakes because there is more to lose. Now, when we attach an intrinsic motivator to something, suddenly it becomes a challenge, but a good challenge, because it is something that activates an inner drive in us to be able to accomplish the best of our abilities. So when we put these opportunities for growth in front of employees, the tendency is they stop looking at things as a dollar sign and start looking at it as internal value. And that ultimately is the importance of including intrinsic motivators in the workplace. And it's something that's being embraced more and more by businesses and corporations across America. And it is a positive change moving into the future. Because if we can shift away from that traditional mindset of money is everything and start putting value on human lives, it's going to lead to a lot more harmony in our workplaces. It's going to lead to more success too. And ultimately, it's going to lead to employees who are motivated to go to work every morning and who value their roles on their team. So I look forward to hearing y'all's feedback. Thank you for your time, and God bless.